The Waynesfield Zoning Board of Appeals board meeting is called to order. Calling in roll call.
Hahn,
Here.
Kaufman,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Reinhardt,
Here.
Johnson, here.
Okay, good evening and welcome to the public hearing for the Waynesfield Village Zoning Board of Appeals regarding the zoning change request submitted by Dollar General. Here tonight are the zoning board members and representatives of Dollar General. The format of tonight's proceeding will be as follows. Any person from the public who wishes to address the zoning board or ask questions of the representatives must sign in on the sign-in sheet, which is right there. Once your name is called, please step to the podium, at which point you will have a maximum of 3 minutes to express your opinion or ask questions regarding the zoning change. Your time cannot be deferred to another individual. Please understand that the purposes of the public ability to hear and so order can be maintained. Only specific people will be granted the opportunity to speak. They are as follows. The person at the podium, the zoning board, including the mayor, Dollar General representative, and legal counsel. Failure to abide by these rules may result in your removal from the hearing. This means, unlike the first meeting, after the public has had their chance for their perspective to be heard, there will be no additional discussion, inquiries, questions, or comments to be made by anyone other than the Zoning Board of Appeals, Dollar General representative, and legal counsel. Finally, let me reiterate, this hearing is for the proposed zoning change to allow Dollar General to build on the lot that is currently zoned agricultural. Before we begin the public input portion of this meeting, I want to give Dollar General representative an opportunity to provide some opening remarks.
Nice to see you all again. Appreciate you taking time out of your lives to help me out and come do this week. We've obviously gone over many of the details before. Since we have reapplied, we have tweaked our site plan to ensure many of the concerns before were addressed, specifically stormwater. I know that was an issue that was brought up. We have designed our site and properly have the reports established through our certified state of Ohio engineer, so that all stormwater that is produced on site will only be discharged at the 100-year stormwater event in accordance with state law and state of DOT regulations. State of DOT does not allow any water that did not previously come off the site, no increased flow, to go off into their right-of-way. So that's been addressed, and we have reports, not with me, but I can produce them should it be necessary. We have tweaked the site plan a little bit to firm up our property boundaries, a copy of which is located there, and we're excited to come into town. Thank you.
Okay, let's begin the public input portion of the meeting. When I call your name, please step to the podium, and first one would be Helen Altott.
The only thing I really have got to say is, years ago, this was a going concern. We had an implement store, we had grocery stores. Now we have nothing except a gas station, 2 bars, that serve pizza, a post office, and we're hoping we get a funeral home, which we had years ago. We had an electric shop. We had so many different things. And years ago, a lot of the council did not want to see improvement. They wanted to keep us a small town. They've kept us a small town. We're a dying town. We need something to keep our kids here, to have go ahead hunting for business of some kind. They had a chance to have Westinghouse. They had a chance for Plastipac. And look what that's done to some of the other cities. Look at Jackson Center. Something has got to be done. And that's the biggest situation to me of all. I don't live in town, but I could go to Dollar General if it's here, instead of running to Lima or the lake or Wapak. And at my age, it's a lot easier to go closer to home than it is to have to run all over Creation. I'm hoping and I pray that this goes through, because we need it. We need to keep our kids. We used to do Saturday night dances for kids. We used to have homecomings. We have nothing. You need EMTs and you need volunteer firemen. You need people to come to this town and be in this town. And that's the only thing that I really think that, my family's been around this town for years. My grandmother, my mom, and I raised all my kids and they went to school here, and I have great grandkids going to school here. I'd like to see them keep into this area. I don't want to see them running out and going someplace else. My biggest concern is, got to do something to make this town available to other people and bring them in so that we can do something with this town. And it would help our schooling. That's my biggest concern.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it. Next, we have Deb Darnell.
I'm just hoping that we get the store because, just like she said, we need something in town. We need businesses in town. And maybe this is the stepping stone. And it'll be a big improvement to the city. Instead of going out here at the gas station and paying $5 for a gallon of milk, we can go to his Dollar General and get it for $2.50. It'll be a convenience store, it'll be convenient, you know, we've got a lot of elderly people. And it will be so convenient for them, and I'm one of the elderly people. And it'll be right across the street from me, so I don't have far to go. I'm just hoping and praying that we do get it. I agree with her, we need something started in town. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Next, we have Amy Greavy.
Pretty much I agree with those two as well. I'm in favor of it. My only concerns is I'm sure they're gonna get addressed as sidewalks, safer sidewalks that need to come down to that area. And the speed limit, which I'm sure is gonna change as well. But I would rather shop and buy things here than drive to Wapak or Lima as well. I mean, if I'm gonna put taxes anywhere, I'd rather put them in here and see us get bigger and grow and be a better town. But other than that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Brian?
Hey, I'm along with everybody else. I'd like to see a Dollar General come to this town. The only opposition I have is this town has historically had reactive planning instead of active planning. And I have a good friend who's unable to be here tonight, but he does have a letter that he'd like me to read. I think you guys have a copy of it. It says, it's from David Webb to the Waynesfield zoning board members. Reference written objection to the rezoning of parcels, yada yada. I received a letter from the Village of Waynesfield indicating a hearing was to take place on May 25th, 2017 at 6:30 p.m. in regard to a matter of rezoning land to the east and adjacent to mine. The letter provided no guidance in regard to what legal statutes this hearing is being held under or what my options are. In the case I object to the proposed rezoning actions. I may be unable to make the hearing in person due to business travel out of state, but I'm providing my written objection to be recorded during the hearing. My objection stems from the point of view that it would appear an objective, competent, professional engineer has determined said location needs corrective actions taken in regard to stormwater runoff collection and distribution prior to allowing rezoning and business developments to proceed. The competent engineer is the county engineer in his office, and the corrective actions is outlined in a ditch petition that was prepared by his office and is currently circulating for signatures. The assistant county engineer informed me this ditch petition could take a year before it is executed, and therefore it seems the village is rushing into this rezoning process before having the necessary improvements in place to make sure myself and other existing village members are not adversely affected by improper engineering of the project. It would seem that it would not be the first time the village personnel have made a similar mistake. Currently, the county engineers are working on a retention pond project at the north end of the town that has resulted in substantial cost to landowners in the watershed area. This would appear to be the result of village personnel not demanding a proper retention pond and drainage plan to be put into place before houses were constructed in the Daybreak Estates subdivision. Currently, the southeast corner of my property has a wet spot, even though it is 3 feet higher than the road frontage of the area subject to the proposed zoning change. For years, the village has informed my family that there was proper drainage in place, but after reviewing the ditch petition and realizing the connection point to the drainage from that area would be south of State Route 67 some distance, it would seem they were in error. I do not have an issue with Buckmaster and Ward family trying to sell their property for a nice profit. However, I do not want the village to rush into the project and leave me paying for the improvements after the project has been completed and the water around it backs up onto my property. That's the extent of the letter. This is a map of the watershed and the people affected, and there are 50 homeowners that will be affected by that. It's something you can look at later if you care to. And you're one of the people that's on the petition, Bob, Chris, you're all affected by this. And when the ditch is petitioned and goes through, you'll be party to helping pay for the improvements. So that's all I have.
Last one would be Shauna.
Again, I'd like to preface by saying nothing wrong with improvements and businesses coming to town. I would prefer to see smaller businesses come to a small town, locally owned businesses, but beggars can't be choosers. So I have a couple of questions I would like some clarification on. First of all, again, has the proposed legal description area that you would like rezoned been purchased at this time?
No.
Okay. I would like clarification, I'm not sure if the solicitor needs to give that or who can give that, on how a portion of 2 parcels can actually be rezoned without rezoning the remainder of the parcels prior to a resurveying and purchase of that portion of the parcels. That's why I just want to be 100% clear that the remainder of the parcels that's not intended to be bought will not then change zoning.
The application is as indicated, and it's only to rezone what's there. Nothing else could be rezoned without the same process, more being rezoned to the rest of the property, without this same process, again, of a proposal being filed, notices being sent, publication, and a public hearing.
Okay, so you can confirm that it is possible without purchasing a resurveyed portion of 2 parcels to resurvey only said legal description and not the remainder of the parcels that are not being purchased?
Yes,
Yes.
and you don't have to own the property to apply for the rezoning.
Okay, thank you. Have different facades been discussed or proposed at this point for the actual building?
We will be putting a vestibule in, but no other facades.
So like the actual construction, have you discussed what it'll look like, what materials will be
It's your
used?
standard Dollar General 9,100 square foot metal building.
Metal. I would be curious if the village has considered making requirements to the applicants to build a more cosmetically appealing structure, considering the, for lack of a better word, inappropriate location being right smack dab in the middle of a residential community. I think that might be something to consider, that I do feel like we have the capabilities to make such demands, that we would like certain cosmetic accents, whether it be landscaping, brick accents, whatever. The community could make those demands on the store to look more appealing for the community. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? So come to the podium, state your name.
Sorry, I didn't get here soon enough to sign up. Richard Harden. From the grumblings that I hear around town, I think everybody is missing the gist of this whole thing. I don't think there's a single person in Waynesfield that doesn't want a Dollar General, including myself. If I say something, it's because people think I don't want it across from my house. That's not the case at all. I just want it done right. And I don't want Dollar General coming in here bullying us around, telling us this is the only option. I mean, make it right. Do the ditching like it should have been done 20 years ago or 1980 something when they stopped where they did. I got 100 pictures on my phone in the last 2 weeks. I mean, anybody wants to see them, it's pretty much positive there is a water problem there. I wish I could download them onto the screen where everybody could see. And we basically, I think we've had one of them 100-year springs just about here. So maybe that makes it worse than what it really is, I don't know, but I just think the bad publicity of this is people are not really getting the gist of the argument and the protest. It needs to be put in the right spot, and there are other spots, and I just hope we get one of them. Thank you.
Should I go ahead and address this?
Sure.
All right, Dollar General submitted plans to Fred here 10 days, 2 weeks ago for their building and so on. And in which it was turned over to,
Mayor, it's for the water
right,
of it.
for the water part of it. But it was we have been turning everything over to Doug Reinhardt, which is the county engineer, on any development, anything. We want his blessing on what we do or don't do, okay? Well, his response to the Dollar General and so on, I'll read this so you understand what the county engineer's position is. Several weeks ago, a request for a ditch petition was made by this department by Brian and Richard Harden. The petition was for installing a new subsurface tile near the west edge of Waynesfield, both north and south of State Route 67. My staff updated the watershed boundary to show who the affected owners were, typed up the petition and bond, and returned those documents to the Hardens for them to solicit signatures. As of this moment, neither the petition or bond has been returned to my office, and I just checked with the county commissioner's office, and they also have not presented such a petition. The department did review the detention plan and calculations provided by you for the stormwater detention runoff plan for the proposed Dollar General store near the west side of town and within the watershed of this possible petition. The calculations and detention runoff plan did meet county-wide design criteria, which requires that a development store on site the extra water created when farm ground is developed to rooftop parking lot runoff. With the plan, the rate of water running off the Dollar General parcel after the development will not be greater than exists today as farm ground. I believe there very well are problems with storm water issues in this area based upon the age and capacity of the existing subsurface tile. However, in my professional opinion, Dollar General store will neither increase nor decrease what problems that do or do not exist. Whenever a petition and bond is presented to this office and the county commissioners, Section 6131 of the Ohio Revised Code, ditch petition law, will be followed. Until that petition is filed, this department nor do the commissioners have any jurisdiction or oversight in stormwater matters within the village of Waynesfield. Well, that was the response from the county engineer, that he feels that there is and always has been water problems, but the development of the property for Dollar General would not increase or decrease according to their engineered plans to build. Okay?
I just wanted English.
I'll tell you later.
I'm sorry, yes or no?
Won't go.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read this part too. Who pays to install ditch? In all cases, directly or indirectly, the property owner or owners who are benefited by the expense of the ditch. In the case of a cooperative agreement between adjacent property owners, the owners pay the contractor directly. In the case of the county ditch, the county pays the contractor and assesses all costs, including engineering and administrative costs, back to the benefit of property owners through a spatial assessment on their property taxes. Okay. That doesn't pertain. So that's who pays for it. What you put in.
Who was the assistant county engineer?
Oh, I gotta think about that for a minute. That's Dave Webb's letter, but the guy that we talked to was Webster.
Who was it?
I believe it's Webster.
And he is the assistant county.
Yeah. Yeah. If you'd like to see this watershed map, list of people that are affected by it. This will be turned in next week. I was just waiting to have an opportunity to actually speak to everybody on there.
The assistant county engineer is working directly under Reinhardt.
Yeah.
So Reinhardt gave us the letter.
Yes.
I guess I'm confused on that.
This is the outline of the watershed. Everything inside of that flows straight across that field. Everything outside, well, this way flows north. This way comes out to another drainage. But it comes all the way up to right across the schoolhouse. This is a list of all the homeowners that you can see. Yeah. That's your property. This is my property. That's Bear's property there. All of Guthrie Street, so.
So the county engineer's saying that there's a water problem.
Yeah.
And the county engineer's saying that
And the assistant.
the Dollar General store being built isn't going to increase or decrease the existing problem that we have right now.
If it's done as they said with the proper retention ponds and stuff.
So the Dollar General construction site isn't going to increase or decrease the situation that we already have. Is that what we're hearing from
That's
the?
what the county engineer has stated.
Okay. So this letter is saying that we got a water drainage problem.
Does that fall on the county? Because Rex and I have been fighting with this for like years. With, with the drainage there and that side ditch by our house in front of that field, it backs up, it clogs up, it backs up.
So
And then it all drains into our basement. But we went round and round. Is it the state? Because it's a state highway. Is it the county? No, it's the village of Waynesfield. And then we hear, no, the village saying, it's not our problem. And so we're doing it all on our own.
All that
Whose
water
problem
drains
is it?
into a county tile that runs across the park and out. When that tile fills up downstream,
That's my only problem with
everything
the
backs
ditch
up.
right in front of the field where they want to put Dollar General. I'm just saying.
Which is, and we, I think we all
I mean-
understand that, and I think,
But is it state, is it county? Is it you guys? Who do I need to contact and say, hey, fix this. We've been doing it for years.
This petition is to fix that. Because it is the county and it is the state. It crosses the state highway, so the county will take care of that.
It's a state highway, but, you know, they don't
County
treat
will
it
take-
as state.
Well, the county will take care of that crossing.
But like he mentioned, the good thing is that
I'm-
if we
I'm
would
just
add the
saying-
dollar, exactly.
I
think we all agree
understand
with
that it has, you know, you're saying it has nothing to do with the dollar store, but still don't affect my situation.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
Sorry.
You're fine, you're fine.
No, it says don't outspeak, but I did. Okay, next.
Discussion.
Well, I think one thing that the people need to know that whatever decision we make here tonight, it still has to go before the council, and the council is going to have the final say-so on it.
This board makes a recommendation, one way or the other, to council. Council will hold a public hearing as well. Council will then vote whether to or not to.
And the only thing I would add to that, Mayor, is second public meeting is just that. And everyone who's here is more than welcome to appear and express your concerns, your support, your views to council. Even those who aren't present can show up at council, so.
But I think what I've heard is, and I think everybody's in favor of the Dollar General. Not necessarily, I mean, and so, it's same with the location. We're just concerned about how we want to resolve our water issue that we've had. or
Exactly.
That we've had.
I definitely want the water issue taken care of, no matter what, and that's what this petition addresses. Actually, this, in fairness, I wanted to make sure there's 50 names on this list, 50 households, that it does affect, and it will be getting an assessment when the ditch improvements are done. And in all fairness to all my neighbors, I want to give them an opportunity to see the drain, see the petition, and have a chance to sign the petition. And that's the only reason that hasn't been turned in yet, is I haven't made every connection yet. I can make 4 of them tonight, but
It doesn't necessarily affect if we change the zoning for the Dollar General.
doesn't affect the zoning, and whether you sign the petition or not, doesn't affect whether the ditch gets done. It only takes one signature to get the petition pushed forward, and there's already probably 20 on it, so.
So it's a done deal then, what you're saying? It's a done deal.
Yeah, it will be. It's gonna be at least a year. One of the things that they did tell me was they scoped there's 2 catch basins there. There's one that's just east of Rex and Barb's house, and then there's one that's probably 150 feet west of Barb's house.
And they clog up,
Well,
and then it
the one
floods
west
into my
of Barb's
basement.
house has less than a half an inch of head space on the culvert where it crosses the road. So what their intent on this is to run a tile from the one that's east of the house, put a new culvert across there, drop the elevation, and bring a drainage all the way around Barb and Rex's house, across my driveway and onto Webb's, and it should take care of the issue of the other one that crosses the highway.
That'd be awesome.
And then the other drainage will run east, then north, across the edge of that field, right up to the interurban line, across Mulberry Street, and pick up that runoff that comes down through there and runs your house, Mike Wright's house, all this blows them off the map now because there is no drainage from Guthrie anymore.
Let me state with regard to the ditch petition. The ditch petition is It's just that, it's a petition, it's a request. It's a request to the county engineer. County engineer then has to determine, is there a problem? If there is a problem, you know, what solutions exist, what are the costs of those solutions? Then the county engineers have to decide
Well, they'll have a public meeting.
which, yeah, and true, and they have a public meeting for input, but ultimately it comes down to the county commissioners then to decide which option are we gonna take, what's the cost gonna be, and how's it gonna be funded, which usually and typically is funded by an assessment to all the property owners that benefit.
Mhm. And like I said, that's why I wanted to make sure that I went around and actually spoke to these property owners, because it is the nature of what we do. I mean, so far, I've had no one disagree with it. I'm sure I will run into that someone, but, you know, it doesn't take 100% agreement with it, but it is an issue that needs to be addressed.
Well, I do know where my water drains to, and 90% of it does not go there. It goes on east. And I also know where 90% of my water comes from, because across the Werner field, I can see the wet spot coming from up here on the hill, coming down. So, you know, I don't feel that it's my place to pay for somebody else's water problem when I don't have. I didn't create the problem. You know, I look at it this way, if you're gonna put retention ponds and so on, you put it where it starts, not where it ends.
And that's why if you talk to everybody on the list, the county engineer has a public meeting. I can tell you that everything inside of that white line was on a topographical grid on 50-foot square, actual GPS readings above sea level, and according to Doug, everything inside of that white grid comes right across there. It may meander this way and then back, but it eventually goes right into that culvert that's here east of Barb's house.
And the county put in the, what is that, 30-inch, to go across 24?
Yeah, it's right here, it's an 18, I think. Yeah, it's 18 inch.
Well, I guess,
Well,
what I'm saying on a identification needs to happen is, you can have all these other tiles coming in to this 18, but if the 18 won't handle it, you just wasted everybody's money. So until that is increased, that 18 that goes across there, if it's deemed necessary by the county engineer, that's the starting point.
Probably be a good point to bring up at the meeting, when they hold the public meeting, it'll raise that point there.
mhm.
Does this have anything to do with Dollar General though?
No.
This has nothing, at this point, to do, you know, I've got documentation from our
Up here.
county engineer that this will not affect, it won't make it better, it won't make it worse. So that's useful.
But Mayor, in the long run, we want to make it better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I 100% agree with that.